Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Kohetsu Aogami Super, or AS Western handled or Yo handled Sujihiki 270mm knife. So this line of knives has a three-layer construction. The hardcore cutting edge steel in the center is Aogami Blue Paper Super reactive high carbon steel from Hitachi, and they take that to a hardness around 64, so they treat it pretty hard. And it's really well heat treated. Mark gets reports and samples out of the batches. So this is an excellent heat treat on these. It's known for that. And so you really can't go wrong there. It's great steel, retains a nice edge, and yet it's still quite reasonable to sharpen. These have a soft stainless cladding on either side of that hard core steel. In practice, these usually react a little bit more like semi-stainless cladding, and you might get some staining on that cladding. So don't be surprised over time if it starts to get just a light, stain on it. It actually kind of looks pretty cool. You can always take that off if you want to with baking powder or different things. Excuse me, baking soda. Different techniques you can use for that. But anyway, so don't be surprised if you get a little bit of reactivity, kind of light reactivity off the cladding as well. The weights and dimensions on these should be pretty consistent from knife to knife. This particular one is 211 grams or 7.4 ounces. These have a full stainless tang and rivets all the way through, so it's got a little bit of weight to it. I will say that the Western versions of these tend to be a little more robust and a little bit thicker blades and a little bit thicker towards the edge and the tip than the WA or Japanese handled versions. So those are ground just a little thinner typically, both the blade and the edge and the tip. So it just depends what you're looking for. These are very popular in professional kitchens because they've got a little bit more toughness to them, should I say. I mean, it's still hard steel, but the overall blades in these lines tend to be just a little more, I guess, pro-friendly in terms of that. But you've got a couple of choices there. Other than that, they perform very similarly in terms of the steel and the cladding and so on. The edge length on this one's right about 270 millimeters, and it's about 10.6 inches. The overall length is about 15.3. As I said, thickness, these are about 2.4 all the way down, millimeter wise, spine thickness, and not a ton of taper. You get a little taper where the grind kind of starts shaping in towards the tip. But again, these have a little bit more meat at the tip than the WA versions. It's just a little thinner overall than these. And I guess let's do a choil shot. So here's your choil shot. So you can see they don't grind these like super duper thin. They still perform well, but they're not quite as ground thin, as I said, as the WA versions. This is about 40.5 millimeters at the heel. And the handles are well done. They're kind of a mahogany type wood. And I think it's a stabilized kind of like pack of wood with the mahogany type color over it. Again, full stainless rivets and full stainless tang. You've got the type of ferrule here that goes right down into the knife, so it's a really well executed part of that knife. And so it looks nice. It's very well done versus kind of the pin style bolster. So anyway, this is just a super nice looking bolster on this thing. The beauty shot, let's do that. So we'll get that for you. There we go. So fit and finish is nicely done on these, very consistent. You've got some embossed, kind of pressed in, pretty deep impressions though. So some nice looking kanji on that side. You can see the finish marks going this way on them. And you've got kind of a plain left side of the blade. It's a little hard to tell, but you can kind of see the cladding line right there. See that cladding line? You catch it just right. It's a little hard to see with the lighting, and even in person you got to kind of look for it. As you use this blade and start getting a patina on it, you'll see that pop. The left side of these, they tend to thin them out just a little bit towards the edge, so you have kind of a polished section towards the edge, and they just thin that blade out a little bit for performance. So you'll see that on the left, or excuse me, the right side of the blade, but generally not on the left side of the blade. This is how they make these. Fair amount of stiffness. Probably to the front third. Once you get to the front third, you get a little more flex, but these have a fair amount of stiffness to them. Fit and finish is nice. They've got a little bit of polish and slight corner relief on the spine, and then the choil, they've cleaned that up a little bit. So out of the box edge, 6, maybe 7 out of 10. These have nice sharp edges right out of the box. And let's look at the cutting board in case you want to use this for some board work. So here's what it looks like. And you can see the tip's pretty aggressively done with the belly, so I can get way up here. So this will rock over stuff, no problem. And yet you've got a little bit of flattish towards the heel, kind of flows into the heel there. So you could definitely do some board work with this, not a problem at all. But these are just a good solid line of knives. They won't stand out too much in a pro kitchen. If you want that Aogami Super steel, maybe if your inspector does not like wah handles for some reason, here's a traditional style Western handle, but yet you get the great steel and nice performance. So cool package. So this is the Kohetsu Aogami Super Western or Yo handled Sujihiki 270mm knife.